Greetings to all my fellow beer lovers from all over the world. Glad you're here. Thank you for being here too, by the way. You know, it's hard sometimes when at the end I may or may not say it, but I do really appreciate you being here. And I appreciate all the views that have gone on since my last video. It's wonderful. Listen, I appreciate it. Well, we've got a really great beer for you today. I'm not going to give it away, but it is a wonderful beer. Yes, it's going to be something you've seen before. And yes, I've got my new hat on. Well, it's actually not that new, but it does come from a brewery down in Charleston. I think you're going to like it. I know that I love it. I've had it before. A little bit dark, a little bit heavy for summer, but we're going to find out what makes it tick, and we're going to do it on Well, folks, as promised, I've got a very special beer here. Yes, this is a Charleston beer, Charleston, South Carolina beer. It's called Leather Jacket. Now, if you're in the area and can find this, or if you can find it really anywhere, definitely seek this out. It is going to be a little bit heavy for summer, but it's an exceptional beer. Now, the only thing about this can right here is it's upside down. Yes, it is indeed upside down. My daughter used to work for this company called Edmund's Oast. And I've done a review on Edmund's Oast before. I believe I did one, I think it was Cereal After Dark or something like that. But I did want to do one for this one. This is Leather Jacket. Funny story is I actually was wanting to do a video on this beer, a review on this beer, but for some odd reason, the audio cut out. So everything was kind of trashed. In this case, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to review Edmund's Oast Leather Jacket. Now, I've had this before. It's really wonderful. If you get a chance, please go get it. I mean, it is unbelievable. It's actually a porter beer. And it does come in, I believe it's a pint can. We here in America, yes, 1 pint. And I'd like to say, 6.5% alcohol. So I'm going to be feeling really good after this one right here. But it's wonderful. It'd be really great during the fall or maybe in the spring. Fall was when I tried it and it was a little bit cooler. So it was a good winter or a good fall, cooler weather, warmer for that matter. But we are going to review it for a couple of reasons. Well, yes, I happen to like the beer, but more importantly, I've only got 2 left. So I had tried to do some reviews on some other beers, but of course, things didn't quite work out like they were supposed to, technical wise. So I pulled this one out of the refrigerator and I said, you know, I had meant to do it. Let me do it now. Anyhow, we're going to get into this beer. This is Leather Jacket. Okay, if you can ever find it, we find it all over the place here. It's from Charleston, South Carolina, and we're going to crack into it. We're going to find out, well, let me see if I can ting it. Whatever. We're going to find out what makes it tick. Okay, now we're not going to do the beer through history because, well, to be quite honest, this is a modern beer. It's a modern porter. Now, let's go ahead and crack into it. Ah, lovely. A good hiss, a good release of the gas right there in the can. Now, I like to pour this. I've had it. I know it's not really carbonated, but I'm going to go ahead and pour it to the side anyway. I mean, it's got carbonation, but it's not got a lot of carbonation. So I feel free to just tilt the glass like that and pour it. Hopefully get it a little bit more glass proud. Come on. I guess not. Anyhow, do like that. Now, yeah, the label is upside down. Here, to give you an idea why the label's upside down. These are more like first runs or overruns or ones they can't sell directly at that moment for some reason. They put the label on upside down and just to be able to say, well, we can't really sell it. Now, for the employees can go in the back. There's a whole pallet of these things. And the employees can, of course, take whatever they want. My daughter took, 2 cases of beer, brought it to me up during Christmas. Wonderful stuff. I really appreciate it. Thank you, baby. Anyway, Now, as you know, whenever we grade our beers, whenever we're reviewing our beers, we review them on the 5 categories of the Beer Judge Certification Program. We're going to do the aroma. We're going to do the appearance. We're going to do the taste, naturally. That's what we drink beer for. We're going to do the mouthfeel. And then we're going to do the overall impression. Now, for that matter, let's do the aroma. Ah, lovely, lovely, lovely. It does have a good, strong malt flavor to it, like a toffee, like a candy, but more like a toffee, more like a nougat, something like that. Some hints of chocolate. I like the hops in there. If you ever smell raw hops, you get a certain smell that just, you know what it smells like. This isn't supposed to be ultra hoppy, but it does have that hoppy flavor. I don't know if they dry hopped it, that is, adding hops to it afterwards to give it a little bit more of the hop flavor. It puts a little bit more into it. It's like putting a bay leaf into something. But what I do believe is that they've got a great amount of course, dark malt that hops, and I don't think they add anything else to it. Now, they could add something to it. I think they might, now that I think about it. It is an American porter. I'd like to say they add another type of an adjunct to it, but we're going to taste it in just a few seconds. Yeah, straight out of here, I can taste a toasted, dark malt, like a chocolate. There are different types of dark malts. There's chocolate, there's black patent, there's all sorts of other adjuncts that you can add to it. There's caramel malts. So I think there's going to be a little bit more caramel flavor to it. Caramel, whatever. It doesn't matter, but you know what I'm talking about. Now, we're going to look at the appearance. So far, our head has not retained. We've got little bitty islands of small bubbles that are floating around in there. And when I poured it, the bubbles weren't really that big. I mean, they were kind of medium to small. So what that leads to me is the carbonation that was in it produced those small bubbles, and those small bubbles came up and made a really fine, creamy head to it, but the head didn't last. Now, that's okay. It doesn't have to. It's a porter. Well, porters can be things like mixtures of stouts and lagers or stouts and ales, generally speaking or historically speaking. But in this case, this porter here did not have a lot of carbonation. I wasn't very surprised. I've had this before. Now, it's incredibly dark. I mean, honestly, I can't see through it. So it's about as dark as a stout. It's about as dark as you can get a beer, quite honestly. And it is in a rather wide glass. Now, you're going to be drinking this in some sort of an ale type of glass. This is, of course, my standard little cheap wheat glass, wheatish glass, I guess you'd say, that I have bought. And I put this in there to be able to showcase a little bit of the malt that's in there. You can't see through this. So I'm not even going to even try. I'm not going to shine a flashlight through it. It won't go through. It's as dark as used oil, to be quite honest, or as dark as black coffee, to be quite honest. And I don't see any Brussels lace, but that's okay. Remember, Brussels lace is not a measure of a good beer. Let's get on with the taste, shall we? Lovely malt sweetness. Very defined porter. A little bit of a berry taste to it. Maybe a strawberry taste. Maybe a raspberry taste. Coffee taste. Definitely a coffee taste. You're going to get that with the malt that they use in the beer. Balance this with a coffee and a raspberry flavor, kind of a raspberry or a strawberry flavor, almost like if you were to drink a coffee and eat something with a fruit in it, like a biscuit or like a jam. Maybe like a biscuit with a jam. Yeah, okay. So you've got that biscuit flavor. You've got that strawberry jam flavor, just slightly, not overwhelmingly. and you've got coffee. You're sitting at breakfast, you're eating something very light, maybe a continental breakfast, maybe a croissant, something like that. Sweetness is right here. You can feel the sweetness right here. Yes, definitely. Now, for the mouthfeel. The mouthfeel is very important, especially in a porter, because porters can be heavy. They can feel like they sit in your mouth incessantly, like you got to have water after you drink this. This is a little bit heavy. We understand this. It's not like the wee heavy we just reviewed, but it is a little bit heavier than your standard, like stout. Well, not stout. What am I thinking? It's a little bit heavier than you would be an ale. It's lighter than a stout. That's what I meant. Now, but it's not cloyingly sweet. It is a little bit drier. I want to find out the end gravity of this. Now, gravity, of course, is how much sugar, how much is unfermentable or otherwise particulate inside the beer. So if you measure the gravity of water being 1, let's say 1.06 or 1.005 or 1.001. You're talking about the closer you get to water, the drier this is going to feel. This, I don't know what it is, but I can bet it is a little bit higher in the final gravity than would be something like a Budweiser, of course, or another type of an ale. Hefeweizens are a little bit higher in that gravity. This is going to be a little bit lower. An Irish dry stout will be very dry. It'll be closer to water, even though it still has that nice, good, chocolatey beer flavor. Now, again, it's not a cloying mouthfeel. So you're going to be fine drinking it. Even during the summer, even during the warmer months, you'll be fine drinking it. Now, for the overall impression, I happen to like South Carolina beers. South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia beers, anything in the Southeast is fantastic. Oh my gosh, Florida, come on. You got to drink some Florida beers. Believe it or not, even in some of the most odd places, you're going to find some of the most incredible beers, really some award-winning beers, to be quite honest, that you wouldn't think possible, especially on the coast. I don't know what it is about that water. Maybe it's just the million-year-old water. I have no idea. But you are definitely going to like this one. This is brewed in Charleston. Charleston is on the coast of South Carolina. So honestly, that water, it's going to come from the aquifer down there. Very good beer. Now, I highly recommend it. If you can find it, go get it. You're going to find it in South Carolina all the way up to where I live, which is the upstate area. Sometimes in North Carolina, you may have to go to a beer vendor to see if they can be able to get that in. Small companies may be able to get it. Maybe they've got a connection out to their distributor to be able to bring this in. Anything Edmund's Oast. This right here, this is something cold. Okay, so you've got that. You've got Cereal After Dark. We've already reviewed that. You've got Spider Queen. You've got a number of different beers from Edmund's Oast that I've had, obviously, because my daughter works there. And I've tasted all of them. I've only found one that I didn't like. I'm not going to mention it. It's like Voldemort. It shall not be named. Anyhow, that's it for our review of this. There we go. How about that? The Edmund's Oast leather jacket. See if you can find it. I highly recommend it. Okay, and now for the beer specs. Edmund's Oast leather jacket. Style, American Porter. ABV, 6.5. IBU, unknown. SRM, roughly 36 to 37. There you go, folks. The Edmund's Oast leather jacket. As much information as I could find out about it in terms of the style, naturally it's a porter, American porter. The SRM, which is pretty dark. The IBU, if I could find that as well. The final gravity, I really want to make sure that that's the final gravity. But other than that, definitely want to say thank you again for being here. Glad you could make it. We really appreciate you being here. We want to say, remember, subscribe, right? Ring that notification bell. Make sure you get notified the next time I have a video out. I promise you the next one's going to be pretty interesting. So stay tuned for that. So be on the lookout for it. Give us a thumbs up. Give us some love. Like, share, pass the video out. Tell your friends and neighbors. Anybody that's into beer, definitely come over here. We review plenty of beers. Polish beers, Czech beers, American beers. We're going to be doing a lot more of that. German beers, naturally. I want to get some more English beers in. I really want to get some of those in. So if you have some suggestions, leave them down in the comments. All right. I want to make sure that I can find some and get them to you and review them. There are tons of beers in this world that I need to go to. I believe we've done Smithwick's. We've done Green King. I need to do some more. So let me know. Now, as normal, as I always say, remember going to Amazon. I got a link down there. I do not make any money off of this, so I'm not an affiliate with them. But the beer review logbooks, it's one of the best little books I think I've ever seen. It gives me tons of information about beer and lots of spaces to write my beer experiences down in. It's got the 5 categories, remember. So you're going to be able to put them down in here. Take it with you. Put it in your pocket, which I don't actually have a pocket here. But take it with you. Bring it out. Write your experiences, especially if you have a good beer party where you're tasting beers. Write them down here. If you're ever in the upstate, hey, go to the Upstate Ale Trail. Now, this is where we have a list of all of the brewers at the time that are in the area. Now, it's the middle of 2014. The last one I have is 2023. I think they're going to come out with one. Some of the breweries are not open anymore. They've gone out of business. Brewing industry is really having a tough time now. Support your local brewer, too, by the way. Now, that being said, the Upstate Ale Trail. Pick you up one, look at it, do a beer tour, right? Make sure that you have a designated driver. But, oh, goodness. I love that. Oof, got that porter going on. Go see if you can find these breweries. Go visit them. Get a flight of beers. A lot of them will give you a flight of beers. Well, sell you a flight of beers. Now, I also say, remember, this is my trusty, dusty book here. Dusty being the operative word there. It is the Total Wine Total Guide to Beer. I don't know if it's in print anymore. This one's 12 years old. It's been around with me for like ever. It gives me an amazing amount of information on beers. You could also, by the way, find a lot of this on the Beer Judge Certification Program website. There's also an app on the phone, by the way. I didn't mention that. You download that. If you ever want to learn anything about a specific beer, this book or the BJCP app will give you all that lovely information. Anything you'll ever want to know about beer, it'll be right here. Now, also want to say you've got a link down there to where you can download and print out the beer score sheet from the Beer Judge Certification Program. This is what they use. You're going to list all of the characteristics about the beer, all your experience, the 5 categories, remember, and any off flavors. So when they judge beer, they use this to be able to say, well, this is beer, this is this style, this is what I tasted out of it, and this is what I also found when I drank the beer. Sometimes beer will have a certain flavor for a certain reason. I've had a couple of them that tasted like vinegar. Not completely vinegar, but you get the idea. That's exactly what that was supposed to taste like. Who knew? Anyhow, get this, fold it up, put it in your imaginary pocket, take it with you, write your beer experience down, and you'll have a record of your trip. Now, remember, subscribe, okay? Ring that notification bell. Get notified the next time I have a video out. And again, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you showing up and giving your support of the channel. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share the video, tell people about it. The more views I get, the more I can grow this channel. So I do want to say thank you. Now, as we always say, Prost. Chin chin. Kanpai. Salud. Lancha. And of course, from America, cheers. Peace, love, and beer.